Good morning. Wake up. Get up. It's Tiffany time. It's time for you to pay attention to me. No, I'm just kidding. I know, I'm so silly. Anyways, welcome to breakfast at my house where we're going to have coffee and what are those croissants? Coffee and croissants.
Is it a beignet?
All right, let's
Bagel?
see who is here real quick. Karen, Diane, Aldia, Linda, Susan, Becky, Teresa, Dawn, Dana, and my phone switched to the live. Becky, Susan, Meredith, Mary, Connie, Michelle, Tony, and Sherry. Welcome, everybody. All right, good morning, good morning. So today we are going to make, as the title says, and after the live, I'll put in all the measurements. I wrote everything down, but I didn't get a chance to sit at the computer because it's too early for me to do stuff. But I wrote this all down yesterday. It's too early for me to do anything. Once I get a chance to sit on the computer, I'll type in all the everything. But usually, as you know, I verbally tell you everything that you're going to need and verbally tell you the cuts and so on and so forth. So let's get to what we need to make. Can you pass me that so I could show them?
Oh, yeah.
We are going to make a table runner like this. And we're going to make 6 placemats, although yesterday's little sample that I made for this, I made 4. So they are hexagon shaped placemats and table runner. Yay. So that's what we're going to do. Here's 2 more. I made 4, but we're going to do 6 in today's video because, you know, a lot of people, when I asked you guys, what would you like to see me make? I think I asked that on a So Sunday or something. A lot of people said table runners and placemats. But the ones that we got messages for were for table runners and placemats that have 6 placemats because in the past I've only made 4. So this time I designed something to where we can make 6. I just didn't have enough fabric of this to make 6, but this was an example anyway. So we're going to make a table runner with 6 placemats today. And for that, you are going to need
To say hi to Thumper.
to say hi to Thumper. Oh, he came in to say hi.
Oh, yeah. You didn't hear him meowing?
No, I did not. I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to the world. He was meowing.
He says, I need my 5 minutes of fame.
Say hi, everybody. Oh, you're watching that? You watching it? Huh? Say hi, everybody. Oh, I'll get you right there. That's what you like. Yes. Now he's purring up a storm. Can you hear it? Purring. Say bye.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Okay. What you're going to need is your main focal fabric, which is this right here, a focal fabric. You're going to need 1 yard. So today I'm going to use, since this is for like a kitchen table, and I have a coffee print here that I've not used, I'm going to use coffee. So 1 yard of a focal print. And it could be directional, which mine is, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. And then you need 2/3, that's 2/3 of a yard of an accent. So here's my accent that goes around my focal. You need 2/3 of a yard. And again, this is to make 6 placemats with your table runner. And then lastly, for the border, you need 1 1/4 yard. And that is the border color. So as you can see, all of these combined match beautifully. And Scott helped me pick them out because we went shopping in my fabric room. I just love having that room so I could shop in it at any time. So if you want to make only 4 placemats, then you need 1 yard of your main, 2/3 yard of your accent, and 1 1/4 yard of your thing. But you'll have leftover fabric. Again, it's the same numbers, just a smaller amount. All right. where was I? I wrote all this stuff down in like different sections. Oh, the next thing you're going to need is, if you have this, a lot of quilters have this ruler. Can you see this ruler? Can I hold it up to here? Can you see it? I don't know how easy it is to see it, but it's this half hex with a triangle as well. And I got this off of Wish a long time ago, when you can buy on Wish, but I've noticed a lot of people have it. So I have it, and we are going to use this to cut our hexagons, but I will tell you the numbers to cut if you don't have this. All right, so the first thing we are going to do is
Where other sites sell that other than Wish?
oh yeah, everywhere sells this, but I got it on Wish all those years ago. There's no name for it. Just type in hexagon ruler, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of hexagon stuff will come out. But this I use with 10-inch squares when I've made it before. I use this with 10-inch squares. So, and that is what we are going to do today. So we are going to start with our focal fabric. And can you plug the iron in, please, so that it's nice and hot for me? Thumper's having issues right now, so I shall plug the iron in.
I'll get it. I'm right here.
Sorry, guys. All right. I'm going to give this a little heat real quick to flatten it out before I start cutting. No, I'm just flattening it before I cut. So I'm just making this a little bit flat so that I can cut it, because it was folded up on a bolt, and it was on a shelf, and it was, let's just say, you know, wrinkled. You can turn the camera again. All right. What I'm going to do is straighten up one side, and this is like super funky. So I'm just going to make sure I'm catching every last bit of this. It's not the blade, it's the cutting mat. Could be the blade though. All right, I'm going to place this now on my cutting mat to use to make my cuts. I'm going to line it up on a line. We're going to straighten it up, and we're going to make 3 cuts that are 10 inches. 10 inches. So 3 10-inch strips. And technically, you only need 30 inches, but that was, you know, I didn't have a number for that, you know. But you need 30 full inches. That's why I just said 1 yard of fabric, in case you have a mishap. All right, so there's 10. Then my cut here on the 20. And I don't even have a full yard here. It was only 34 inches or something like that. But you need a yard. I just made sure I had 30 inches of accessible fabric that's not, you know, messed up. Oh, shoot. Okay, maybe it is time for the blade. I've been doing lots of cutting, you know.
Well, then change that blade. You have new ones.
And I'm going to cut my scrap while I'm right here, because you guys know I love to make sure that my scraps are nice and cut up. All right, place that out of the way. All right, now that we have 3 10-inch cuts, we're going to start with our first one. So I'm going to set aside 2 of those real quick. And my first one is going to be for the table runner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the selvage off, so you can see what I'm doing. I don't care about the size of this. The table, all of your table runners are going to be different lengths because of the amount of selvage. Like this one has almost an inch of selvage. So I'm going to lose a whole inch off of this. So that doesn't matter, that part. We just want the selvage cut off. Your placemats, though, should all come out the same size. Then I'm going to take this hexagon ruler. I'm going to turn this whole thing so you can see. I'm leaving it folded in half, and I have my hexagon here. Now, if you don't have a hexagon, you are going to cut to create this right here. On your edges of your 10-inch square, you're going to line the line of your cut that you just made up on your cutting mat, and you're going to take a ruler and cut. You're going to start at 4 1/2, oh no, 4 1/4 inches down. So go to 4 1/4 on your cutting mat, and then you're going to come over 2 1/2 inches. So 2 1/2 to 4 1/4, and then you're going to make a cut. And you're going to do that on both sides. So it's just a sideways little cut. 4 1/4 down and 2 1/2 inches in from the top edge. But if you have this lovely half hexagon ruler, I'm going to line up the edge right here, and I'm going to line this up with the two ends. And then I'm going to go ahead and slice that side off and that side. So that leaves us with a piece that looks like this. Again, 4 1/2 inches down and 2 1/2 inches in to create that hexagon shape on one end, well, both ends technically, but when it's folded in half, it's, one side. You're not cutting the other side. So that is done, and now let's cut. I'm just going to set it aside and cut out some 10-inch squares. We only need to cut 6. If you have an 8-person table, you can go ahead and do that, but you will have to add more accent fabric and more border fabric. You probably only need a 1/2 yard more of what I gave you in the measurements, just in case you have an 8-person table, which I found out last night talking to friends that a lot of people have 8-person tables because they have large families. But I've been asked for 6 placemats, and technically my table sits 6, yet I always only make 4. It's so weird. All right, so I'm going to cut 6 10-inch squares. It's on the 10. We go right here to the 20, and there's going to be 4. Can you do me a huge? Oh, that didn't.
There was a question if this has the word Jaybird on it.
Jaybird. No, it doesn't have any.
This is Jewel.
It doesn't have anything on it. I didn't press the fold out, so I'm going to cut it from this side now. Right here. I'm just cutting the fold side because I didn't press that fabric, and, I'm just doing this the lazy way without going over and having to press. So I'm going to cut 2 more, but technically 4 because the extra will go in my scraps bin of 10-inch squares, because that's what I would cut it into anyway. So I'm just going to take 2 of these out of here because I only need 6. And we're going to have these 6 right here. Now what I'm going to do is very carefully, 2 at a time, you're going to do that same number. If you fold it in half like this on the fold, you're going to do that same number when it's folded in half. However, if you're using this template or this ruler thing, you're going to lay it on the line right here, on the dash line that comes across here, by the way, onto the fold. And then that way your 2 points are in the corners. And what I'm actually doing is cutting 2 sides, and then the top needs to be cut off to create the hexagon. The reason I'm making sure that the top gets cut off on this, so I took off an extra 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, about 3/4 of an inch, just in case you're curious, is because we don't want these placemats to be too much bigger. So we're trying to keep them smaller. So if you want to make sure that it's an equal size, cut the 2 sides and then cut the top off. Or I can just tell you right now exactly what the numbers are. 4 1/4 in and 2 1/2 to the side. Yeah, perfect. No, I don't need anything. All right, so now I'm going to do the next 2 because they're neatly stacked together, or at least they were until I started shifting things. There we go. Line it back up. I have all these rulers, so I'm trying to incorporate these rulers when I make things with you guys now. Oops. Knocked it. That's the one part. It hangs off the table and I end up knocking it. All right. 2 more, and the last 2. Fold them exactly in half. Same thing. Line up this. Definitely gonna need to change this blade. All right, and that gives me 6. Throw all that over there. Now that all these are cut and the table runner is cut, we're going to start with our accent fabric. And I'm going to go ahead and press this real quick because, again, it's been folded for too long. But I'm going to leave it folded in half. And we're going to use, again, it's nice to have all sorts of rulers around here. We're going to cut 13 1.5-inch strips. And I'm using my strip cutting thing. I forgot what these are called again. Stripology ruler. So I'm just going to line this whole thing up, making it nice and straight. And I'm going to cut 13 1.5-inch strips. Slide that out of the way because this confuses me. I got to cut on the stars. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on a second. Did I just do that one? Yeah, I did that one. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So my stripology ruler cuts all 13 of them. Now, what did you ask?
Would half a hexi ruler work for this project?
Half a hexi ruler, yeah. If you have the half a hexi only, I have one too, but mine wasn't as big for 10-inch squares. If you have the 10-inch square half hexi, then use that, yes. It's the same thing. All right, set that aside, and I'm going to take all these strips and stack them up. 13 1.5-inch strips from the accent. All right, now we're going to do the 2.5-inch off of our border fabric. And I need 15 2.5-inch. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my stripology ruler again. Let's see where that end comes. Line it up there. Line it up on the line. Perfect. And we're going to cut 15 2.5-inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that one shifted, but it should still be 2.5. So here's 8 of 15. We need to cut 15. Remember, you needed 1 1/4 yard for that. The accent was 2/3 of a yard and 1 yard for your main. All right, since that shifted, I'm just gonna reline it up. I'm at 8, right? Yeah. So this will be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so I cut all 15. I had more than I needed, obviously, because I just pulled that. As long as it had my 1 1/4 yard on it, I was able to use it. All right, so there's my 15 strips of 2.5 inches. And then I have 13 1.5-inch. And then I have 6 from 10-inch squares turned into hexagons, and then 1 table runner that's with the fabric minus the selvage, and then your cut out for the hexagon. All right. So now it's time to start sewing. This is like so easy. This is going to be the easiest thing you do. The only part that's not as easy is the binding of this angle right here. And last night I measured, it is a 30-degree angle, which we're not used to, but it works out. It works out. I've bound 45s and 60 degrees and so on and so forth when it comes to that, but not a 30-degree. All right, we're going to start off with our table runner. We're going to grab 2 1.5-inch accent strips and add 1 to each side. Literally going to open it up, hang the selvage over. That's all you need to do is hang the selvage over like this. And then we're going to sew a 1/4-inch seam all the way down, and we're going to cut as we make. So, because there's no actual specific measurements because of the angles. So we're literally going to sew it, cut it, and so on and so forth. No, you don't need to really. So I'm just going to sew this on here. I'm not pulling or tugging. I'm just lining it up and sewing all the way down with my 1/4-inch seam. And then I'm going to stop just slightly past where it ends, so you'll have a little tail hanging off. I'm going to go ahead and flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. Then we'll press, then we'll trim. So I'm just going to hang it over just a little bit, like this. So just the selvage sticks over. And sew with my 1/4-inch seam all the way down. Just beyond it a little, and now I'm going to take it and press it just towards the accent, and then we'll be back to trim it. And I have so much stuff on my ironing board because of the double wedding ring that my space is limited up here.
Dun, 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 the double wedding.
Yeah, that double wedding ring, let me tell you.
Dun, dun, dun.
I have taken a pause from it. I did not sew on it at the last few days. Instead, I worked on the long arm to finish my client's show quilt. So as soon as she gets it, then I'll be able to post the video once she gets her quilt, because she didn't want to see it. So obviously, and she watches my videos, she wanted it to be a surprise of what I quilt on there. So now I'm going to lay this here on my desk. I'm going to grab my handy dandy ruler. We're going to lay it along the edge of this cut right here, and we are going to slice and dice. So you'll have this piece with a really long, weird end. Then while we're here, we're going to get the selvage side off. We're going to try to keep, there's no angle on the ruler for this, by the way. So you have to just line the edge up with the ruler, the edge of the ruler up with your cut piece. Because unfortunately, that angle is not on my rulers. All right. Once it is trimmed, it should look like this. Okay. And like that. You can see it comes out on the ends. Now we're going to build our sides. So we're going to grab one piece, should get both sides. Or you can use the leftovers, which I'm going to use on one side and then the strip on the other. That way you don't have much waste. So I'm going to lay one on here. I'm just going to put this long edge that I just cut hanging over on the one side, and it should hang over this much, like that. And I'm going to sew this on with 1/4-inch seam. right off the edge. And then while I'm right here, I'm going to attach the other side. All right, so they kind of stick out funky like this. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. So my whole strip, just going to hang it over by the selvage on the one end. So like this, it's hung over just a little bit, and then the rest of it hangs over on this side. Just going to line it up and sew it. And without cutting or trimming, I'm literally going to take and find the other end, hang that selvage over the bottom part, and run this flat across the top, and then start my stitching. So I have like a handle right now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press this and all this back, and then we'll trim away. So easy to do this. And you'll have fun. A lot of getting up and down, but getting your exercise in for the day.
Steps.
Yeah, those steps. I need them too because I've been struggling with walking, and I just got to keep doing it even though it hurts. So I need my steps. So before you trim, you have something that looks like this. And on this side, I have my tail.
Like a tall, skinny apron.
Yes, it looks like a tall, skinny apron, Scott said.
Good.
So I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm going to line it up with this top edge, cutting off these two pieces. I'm going to grab this side right here. I'm going to line it up with my accent color and just cut nice and straight. Wow, I was not expecting my words to come out like that, but whatever. And then do this side nice and straight. Flip it around. We're going to cut straight right here, lining that up. And then we're going to do one side and then the other. Okay. Now this piece that's left over from that second one should get both sides. So you should have plenty to catch both of these sides now. We're making sure to do this last, that way it still seems wide, because right now it kind of seems really skinny. So we're going to take this end, lay it over like that, and just stitch it on. All the way until the end. I just went over. Oh, I also skinnied up my seam. How did I do that? Because I'm trying to talk and work at the same time. Now I'm just going to hold this on here, bring this other end around to me. Just making a big mess here. And I'm going to lay this on here, right sides together. I'm going to line it up and sew it on. This time I should not let my seam veer off. So now we have those hooked together. I'm going to go ahead and press each side, and then we'll cut. Just pressing it towards the sashing. And I'm doing this because I'm trying not to waste fabric as I go. The cut numbers I gave you is from me not wasting fabric. So I'm going to start with one side. Just going to move this piece out of the way like this. Grab this. Line up that edge. Oops, it would be nice if the blade was out. Cut that off, and then come over here. Line up this edge. Cut it off. Turn it around. And repeat. Lining up the edge. and lining up the edge. But don't toss this because you could still use this, these longer pieces. All right, next for this, we're going to go now to the border. So we're going to start with 2 strips, 1 for each side. At this point, it's top and bottom. So along this and along this. So now let's add the borders. And it's the same procedure. You literally hang it over the selvage just a little bit, all the way on one end. And sew it on. A 1/4-inch seam all the way down. And this is going to give us a, wherever my paper is, where'd my paper go? Do you have it?
Oh, it's on the floor. Sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
A 15.5 inch by whatever your width the fabric was, plus the things. So it should be about 44, 45 inches, you know, somewhere around there. And then the little placemat should be 13.5 inches. That's the should be's, but you know. All right, one side is sewn on. We turn it around and sew another long strip. It's very easy, very, very easy. I've done this method with tons of different shapes for you guys, but now it's time for a hexagon shape.
And you're like done already.
I'm not done. The placemats take a while because you gotta do them one at a time.
Speedy.
All right. So there's that. Now I'm gonna press it back towards the border fabric.
If there were sewing races, we'd definitely enter you in.
Scott says if there was sewing races, we'd definitely enter me into them.
Alright.
Could you imagine if I used an industrial machine for my piecing? Put that thing on full power and sew. All right, one side, turning it around because of my limited space here. All right, same procedure. I'm going to lay it right here. I'm going to grab my ruler, lining it up with this edge, and slice and dice. I'm going to take it onto this side, line it up with the edge, and slice and dice. So it should look like this at this point. Turn it around and repeat. Lining it up, slicing and dicing. Lining it up, slice and dice. I mean, that's what we do when we make our breakfast, right? We slice and dice. All right, now for sides. These, I don't think we're going to see. No, they're not. If I put it on this side. It is if I put it on this side. So, yesterday I didn't use those pieces, but we're going to take this piece and we're going to put it with the edge on here that faces down like that. So it's going to hang over on the selvage, and then this side will have some hangover. And then I'm going to put this opposite one. That's not going to fit that way. The opposite one on the opposite side. And then we'll grab another strip. So I'll have 2 opposite sides with these real quick, just so that I'm not wasting anything. And we'll grab a fresh strip for the two others. All right. Go ahead and add this one to this side.
Oh, Jim's telling everybody Eric did an update video.
Yes, Eric did an update video. I literally watched it. A lot of people were asking me how Eric's doing and stuff. I talked to him that, I don't know if he told his audience because I don't, watch every single one of his lives, that he started a new job. And we haven't really talked because of his new job. So, but yes, he has an update for all of you. All right, so those are on there. We're going to grab another strip and just add the other two sides. So I'm going to hang it over by the selvage and just do these two sides. It's a build as you go kind of thing here. I like these kind of projects though, because there's no exact math to cut. Your initial pieces are all cut to one size, and then the rest you just sew on. All right, let me add this to this side now.
I'll keep the paper over here so it keeps flowing. Whenever you need it, yell and I'll hand it. Okay?
You can put it underneath that piece right here on the end. All right, so I'm lining this up.
Sounds good.
I'm still connected to the other side. Just sewing things on. All right, so now I'm going to take it and press all these sides, and then we're going to slice and dice again. And I'm just pressing them towards, away from the center pretty much, towards the border. This one's so cute. I like this. I don't even drink coffee or like coffee, but this is cute. These colors look amazing.
Well, that's why it'll be for sale when it's done.
Yeah. Let's get this up here so that I can reach it. All right. Those are pressed. I have a connected piece that's kind of funky, but we're going to get it flat right here. Try to keep that piece out of the way. I'm going to cut the end off first, which disconnects. So I'm just lining it up and cutting that straight edge. And then I'll do the two sides. Line it up, make the cut, and just have a weird funky on one end because I, used it the way I did. Slice that one off. I know it kind of sucks that, again, there's no angles to line it up with, but you make it work. It'll work out. This end right here. So there's one edge, and this should be enough for the two end pieces, hopefully. All right, got that end off of there. Some garbage. I don't know why I'm saving any of this. I'm really bad about thinking, oh, I'm going to save it for my little scrap bin. As long as I can get a 1-inch square out of it, I save it usually. All right, I'm going to take this, and now I'm going to attach one on each end, because now one needs to go on this side and one on that side. And then this will be done. And then all we need to do is the words placemats. All right, so I'm going to line it up so it's nice and squared off. All right, and I think it's enough, but we're going to make sure. No. Yes. Okay. I'm going to trim it first and then put it on there. All right, so I'm going to trim this end. And trim this end. And then this should be plenty for the open side that has nothing. See?
Oh, look at you. These are more
Line
cookies.
it up and sew it on. And then all I need to do is press it back and trim it. And then we can start those placemats, which are the same exact piecing method. So, lining up my ends and making the cut. And there we have the table runner. Just needs to be quilted. And I don't have a way to put it up on the wall because, well, double wedding ring. So I'm just going to fold this out of the way for now. And now we're going to start on all these. So I'm just going to bring all these over to me. And we're literally, they stuck together. Open them up and I'm going to do all 6 of them. So I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to take another one, another strip, and another one of these. It takes one and a little bit of each, one full strip and a little bit of another. I always start on my angles. So I'm going to do this angle and then this angle, and then grab another one, do that same angle each time. Lining, taking the selvage, putting it past that angle. And then I'm going to grab the opposite end and do that opposite side. And that stays with that strip for now. So I'm going to grab another one of these, another strip. And Scott can press them actually while I get them sewn. But I'm going to sew the same corners every time.
What can I iron?
Iron this back.
Okay.
Okay. Keeping it hooked, I'm going to do the opposite side. So if I did this one, I'm going to do this one. Opposite side. All right, throw it over there. And I'm making sure, because mine are directional, that I'm doing the same in the direction, in its direction. So they're all facing the proper direction. All right, I'm gonna grab another one, another strip. Top corner, and then the bottom. So doing top right and then bottom left. Turn it to the opposite. Toss it out of the way, grab another. Same thing.
I'll get 6 of them, right?
Yep. All right, next, another strip.
2 more to go. Almost there.
Opposite side. Oh, no, because I was going to cut the 1 inches off the ends.
Oh, okay. Calm down. You go work.
He's making me nervous. I don't want to get all that messed up.
I'm not messing that thing up. I probably need it on Sunday. Show the hands. Oh, pulling it out now.
All right, and then
Stand up and show them that.
while he's pressing the last ones, we're going to go ahead and trim these. So I'm going to go ahead, same thing as the table runner. Going to line my ruler up with the edge, make a cut, tilt it, make a cut, tilt it, make the cut, and last cut on this side, straightening that ruler up with it, and you should have something that looks like this, opposite sides, keeping this with this. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab another, and I'm going to do another piece.
I'm just going to hang it the long way, I think.
The clips are over there somewhere. Yeah,
Should I put it that way or do you want it the long way?
it's fine. Just put it the long way.
You want it the long way?
Yep. I'm going to keep that piece with it. Move on to the next. Slicing and dicing. And I probably didn't even need 13 pieces, but I made the 4 placemats out of 4, out of 9 1.5 inch strips, which is like a half a yard or something, wherever my paper is. Keep this with it. I'm just literally stacking them out of the way. I enjoy doing stuff like this. It makes me happy. All right, one more to cut, and then we can start sewing them on the pieces that are left. All right, keep this with it. Slide it all down, and now I'm just going to grab one at a time with its piece, and we're going to do the opposites. So I'm not doing the straight top and bottom yet. I'm doing the opposite sides. So I'm going to do that same procedure where I hang it over, switch it this way. That way this end that I just cut off with the little point lines up nicely on this end. That way I have less waste. turn it around, line up the other side. That one's ready to be pressed. I'm just going to throw it aside. Grab, yeah, grab another, another one, and sew on my sides. One, and the other. Toss it aside.
And then when you
grab
do this
the
border,
next.
it's going to be like the same concept as that one, huh?
Yes, the
So
next
once they
border
get
is
one
the
down-
same concept. Yes.
Yeah, so once they get one down, it should be super easy for the next one, right?
Yep.
Good.
I veered off again. Why do I don't know why I'm doing that. It's my brain today or something. I don't know. It's a morning thing, you know?
She said no.
Yep, sometimes it says no.
She said no.
The reason why I'm turning them all is this end right here with the little lip that I had cut off lines up, if I put it like this, with this edge right here and a little dog ear sticking out. So it lines up perfectly so I'm not wasting any fabric. But you have enough fabric. I've had you cut enough fabric for plenty of space to mess up. You know that iron after a while starts smelling like an oil change. Do you notice that? It smells like an oil change in here.
No, I don't think you've changed oil in a while.
The iron smells like it.
That's for someone that changes oil on TV. I don't believe it does. But
That's what I think it smells like.
could be because you made that mess and never cleaned that up.
Could be. All right, one more. And then we sew on the other pieces, and then this will be ready for the border.
Are you leaving the loops attached on purpose?
I'm leaving the loops attached on purpose because that way I don't have to trim as I go, because then you have to sew, press, trim, sew, press, trim, sew, press, trim 5 more times than normal.
That was my question.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was a question.
No, it was mine.
Well, if you had the same question as Scott, that's why I'm leaving them attached.
That was my question. Oh, is this one there? I didn't even see that one was there.
All right.
I was waiting on you.
So I'm going to go ahead now and trim these. Lining it up straight. Trim. Lining it up straight. Trim. All right. And this should be enough for both sides. It depends on your with the fabric, because some of them are, like only 40 inches, and if you pre-washed your fabric, then you probably only have like 39 inches, because it shrinks so much. All right, keep that with that. Grab another. And if you are an absolute beginner, this is probably like the perfect table runner placemats to make, you know, because you're literally just trimming as you go. You don't have to worry about cutting all those exact numbers. This is the best way to make stuff. It's not going to stay.
Worth a shot.
The design wall seems busy.
It is.
It's very busy. But I didn't want to remove the double wedding ring because I have nowhere to place it in the position that it currently is in without Thumper messing with it. And I'm not going to leave it on the living room floor until I'm ready to work on it. And one more. All right. Now to add to the other two sides. I'm hoping this is enough. It should be. Should be. But if not, there's extra strips to cut from. And look, I was able to do it. So I literally should probably trim one side off before Scott takes hold, but I'm just going to leave it like that. He could figure it out at the iron.
I'll figure it out. He ain't called the Iron Man for nothing.
So if you're saving space like me, I think we only needed to cut 9 strips like I did for the other one. How weird. Same amount, but I cut 9 strips. Is that weird or not? I think that is weird.
You're going to have to figure it out when you cut it if you're going to try and cut them at each end. You're not cutting them in the middle?
No.
You're going to cut it at each end?
Yeah, I will get it. I will figure it out because
I think your part's going to be harder than mine.
I'm a master at myself, except for the double wedding ring. Two more, and then we could start putting the next border on. shorter where?
The middle piece.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
I had to pretty much iron both sides at the same time. I have to bend it over to iron, piece connected. Yeah, that one was perfect. I was just letting you know. Your others give me a little bit of leeway. That one did not. What interfacing do you use for t-shirt quilts?
What interfacing do I use for t-shirt quilts? I use sometimes whatever's on sale. I prefer to use Brain, can't think of it. What is this one called?
Is the one 911?
No, this is the one I prefer. Pellon SF101 Shape Flex. It is actually fabric with glue on it, is what it is. And I like that better for t-shirt quilts. But I have used Pellon 911 for t-shirt quilts as well. But I prefer the SF101 Shape Flex. I think it lays better and it's not as thick. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and carefully trim these. With that, can I do it? I can. You don't have to. Like I said, we cut extra strips, so you didn't have to be, all cautious on how much fabric you're using. But if you want to be exact, I think that was 9 strips. Which is so weird because I made 4 placemats and a table runner yesterday with 9 strips. Which is very odd. That's why I added some, because I figured with 6, I would need more. That's so weird that I don't. All right. You don't have to do that, what I just did either, with this whole tight little piece right here. You don't have to do that. You can sew on your piece, trim it. Again, extra fabric for a reason. I'm just very, I hate to waste, and I'm sorry about that. And I show you guys in a lot of my videos, especially my scrap videos, I try to use every last bit of everything because, and I've trimmed leftover fabric before also, during a video, because I cannot stand to waste fabric.
I told you one of those is really short. There you go. You get it. Use a mark cookie. Genius at work. Genius at work.
Any questions while we're doing this? I feel like every time, and I say the same thing every time too, I feel like I'm not talking, like I need something to talk about. Let's give me something to talk about.
Come on, Tiffany, keep going.
I can't sing.
Yes, you can. You sing better than me. Come on.
I don't know the whole song. Well, I know the song. I just don't know all the words. I don't remember every single word of every single song these days. I used to know them all as a kid. All right. First part's done. Now for these. Now, one of these strips definitely does not fit all the way around because it's bigger. So each end, when we trim it off, is a lot bigger. So that is why we have plenty of these. There's 15 of these. Well, not left, but 15 total. So we should have plenty. We're going to piece it the same exact way. We're going to start with one side, other side. Then you're going to do one side, other side, and then the top and bottom. So I'm just going to do that same exact procedure. I'm going to hook it all while they're hooked together like this. One right after the other. Same thing. I'll bring that closer to me. So I always start with the top right as it's facing me, top right, bottom left, and then I do top left, bottom right. Just to make sure you guys understand how I'm putting these on here. That way they're all equal. They are all exactly the same. Instead of just going one side, the other side, the other side, the other side, then your last side will be a lot longer. You don't want that.
How can I turn a scrappy quilt block into a diamond shape instead of just the square?
How can you turn a scrappy quilt block into a diamond shape instead of just squares? You would cut a diamond out of it. No, you don't just turn it sideways. You have to line it up. But if it's just a square, it's going to be hard to get your diamond out of it. It's going to go a lot smaller. Trying to think of a diamond video I have. And I can't think of any off the top of my head. So you would take your square and you would line your sides up on the 45 on your cutting mat. I'm not cutting this one. And then you would start with whatever angle cut and make this, and then you would come over that next number. But a square ain't going to do it. You have to have a longer piece. We usually cut from 2.5-inch strips or 5-inch strips or whatever to make diamonds. Just throwing that out there. Out of a regular square, I think it doesn't work. Unless somebody in the audience knows a way, but I don't think it works. It would be a lot smaller than your square. So if you started with a 10-inch square, you'd probably get a 5-inch diamond out of it, which is a waste of piecing, honestly. But I'm all about not wasting. Oh, what am I doing? Throwing it that way. Honestly, I just thought about this. Take the Hunter Star video that I did. That, you take a square, you cut it in half on the diagonal, and then you go over 2.5 inches, cut it, and go over 2.5 inches on the other side and cut it, and then you get 4 2.5-inch diamonds out of it, as well as the centerpiece and the two outsides. Concept is the same.
What about your diamond detour video? That's what Jim posted.
Diamond detour video, yeah, you can just piece a bunch, but you still have to do strips. Diamond detour was cut from strips, not from squares. So you'd have to do, say 5-inch strips. Make a big long, kind of like what is the word for it? Receipt tape. Some of you do that where you piece on the receipt tape you know, with crumbs and stuff, and then cut that down into usable sizes or make strip quilts. You can do that method, but with, say, something 5 inches instead. And then you line that up on your 45 on your mat and start cutting in however many inch increments. I'm hoping that I made that sound, you know, okay.
Everybody's saying just turn the square on point, like I said.
Turn the square on point.
Just take the square. Exactly. Boom.
Well, that's not a diamond though.
So it's still diamondy.
Diamond-ish. I thought the person's question was actual diamonds.
Maybe it was, but everybody's telling them just turn the square.
Yeah. That would
Make
just
it
be an
simple.
on-point quilt.
They're just making it simple.
Yeah. So pretty much you would turn a square into a word for it. There is a word for it. A square in a square by turning it on point and putting pieces around it. I thought it was for regular diamonds. Like the kinds that are in that Lone Star right there. All right. Oh, you didn't. I need that. What is it?
48.
48. Wow, that was some long fabric.
By 16.
By 16.
Blue one is.
My other one is
49.
49.
Well, that one's finished. The brown one's not finished yet.
By 15 and a half.
By 15 and a half. Yeah. When the brown one's finished, it'll be a little different.
Yeah, when this one's finished, it'll be different. But this one's longer because that fabric was longer than this one. Like I said, fabric sizes vary. I forgot I asked you to press these, but never mind.
No, you didn't. I was sitting there the whole time. But if you want them pressed, I will press them. Sitting there asking you questions, honey. If you want them pressed, you should say, get your booty up. Moving, boy. There goes Speedy.
All right.
Get to work.
Same thing. Line up with edge, make cut. And just in case you were curious, when it's at this point right here, if you add another 2.5 inch piece right here on the end, you will actually create a diamond shaped diamond.
That's cool. Who doesn't like diamond shaped diamonds?
Yep. It becomes a 60-degree diamond. Just in case you wanted to make diamond placemats. You know, or whatever. So many different options of things that can be made. For some strange reason, this one seems a little on the crooked side.
Shoot, you're practically done. It's only 9 o'clock. Slow down, Missy. That's okay, though. Crooked's good. Because they're octagon, right? No, they're 6.
Hexagon.
Hexagon. So it's a good look.
Yep.
Okay. More?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I got all 6. I'm on my hand. I'm on it.
And you know, I should say this. If these are too big for your table with the table runner, you could always just use the placemats at the table and use your table runner on a dresser or on the counter, or if you have like a, you know, a hutch or something. It just depends on the size of your table. And you could also shrink the size of this next border. Instead of being 2.5, you can make it 1.5. Tons of different options. Unfortunately, I can't make it work for everybody's table size. So you can just make the table runner only, or you can just make the placemats only. That's up to you. However you want to do it. Or you can use the placemats on your end tables, you know, and the placemat on your coffee table, or the table runner on your coffee table. Like, you don't even have to use these at a kitchen table. The idea is here. And they're cute, and a plate fits perfectly in the middle with your silverware on the side when they're done. So, and I made sure to check that out when I was making these. Everything worked out perfect. All right, so now I'm just doing those opposite sides again. The sides, not the top and bottom, since I'll get to that when I get to that. You can start pressing the ones I throw.
Oh, you got more behind.
Yeah, they're numb. I've been sitting too long. I can't until the numbness tingle part goes away. It's the actual fell asleep part filling.
Ah.
Oh, hurts so bad. Sorry if you hear like that weird pounding sound. That's my feet on the floor. Just sitting like this. I'm not even sitting on my feet, and my feet fall asleep.
You remember the sizes of the placemats? Sam, again?
Oh, the placemats are
Sorry, I meant the table runner. I don't know the placemat sizes.
the placemats are 14 by 14, and these 2 points come out at 16.5 inches. So 14 this way, 14 this way, you know, but 16.5 inches from the point to the point.
And they're all for sale, so tell your friends. You're done with that one,
Yeah,
right?
okay. I'm on this one. I had to stand.
Yeah.
I have to stand for a minute because sitting is not helping. trim. The leftover of this is only going to fit on one side, so we'll have to start with some new strips.
New.
Yep. You're only going to get one on this on one side. So we'll have to pull to get side 2.
That's going to look pretty cool, though.
Oh yeah, these colors go together great.
Even though we're not coffee people, those are looking beautiful.
Yep, we's not coffee people whatsoever. I don't know what it is. People have asked me in the past too, why don't you drink coffee? Blah, 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 blah. Maybe it would help you stay awake longer and da, 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 da. And I'm like, no, I don't like the taste, the smell. I don't like the smell of it brewing. I don't like the smell of it on people's breath. Like, obviously, you know, I have friends and stuff that drink coffee, but when I was a kid, my parents would kiss me off to school. Oh, great. Have a great day at school. Love ya. And yeah, that stench that came from their mouths from the coffee.
Were they smokers? I
No.
had the coffee and smoker breath given to me.
No.
Have you given any thought on how you will be joining it together, the wedding ring quilt?
I have not given the wedding ring quilt a thought because it's in timeout.
It's in timeout.
It's in timeout. I have placed it into timeout temporarily until I figured it. I think I'm still going to do what I was doing. I'm just going to gather myself, you know. Sometimes we all get overwhelmed by something, and that quilt has overwhelmed me. It's not that I can't do it, and it's not that I don't want to do it, because I do. I'm just a little on the overwhelmed side. So I'm taking a lovely break from it. And I'm getting other things done, like this kind of stuff that people have asked to start seeing more of. And on Sunday, we're going to still be taking a break. And for So Sunday, we are going to make a bag. Why? Because people have been asking for bags and stuff. And I spent a bunch of weeks already on the double wedding ring. So everybody is at that point where they're putting theirs together. And they're probably all doing the same thing as me. Taking a little break from it. Gather our bearings.
And then we're going to do a de-stash.
Yeah. And then after that, I'm probably going to do a de-stash because I need to start quilting what's in there. So I need to get rid of what's in the other room. And I need room for that.
Don't be prepared for de-stash. We got lots of quilts.
And I also am supposed to be starting this month with Eric on our Tula Pink butterfly quilts. I don't know how I'm going to work that in, but we're going to figure it out since he works during the day. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and sew the one side of all of these with this one piece, and then I will grab from my pieces and sew the other side. So we're just doing one at a time at the moment. And I did it again. I don't know how I'm veering. Oh. All right, I'm going to just pass these to you to press. Maybe it's just because I'm sewing too fast today.
It just rained the other night here.
It just rained the other night here. Oh, yeah, the other night. So it
was
was like all,
night, but it was only at night.
it was all cloudy, pitch black clouds all day long. Just kind of hovering around town. Never, it wasn't on top of us directly. But it was shading everything because the sun was always hidden behind something. Then by the evening time, I started smelling rain. So I looked it up and it was only a 66% chance. Now, anything over 60, I think, well, then it might actually drizzle. You know, and when it's 100%, that means it's really actually raining, which sometimes it says 100% on the weather thing, but it really isn't raining. But we ended up getting a notification around what, 9 o'clock? Or no, 8:30. We were finishing up a movie, and a notification came in on our phone with a weather alert for flash flooding. So it's like, oh yeah, it's definitely going to rain. So then there's, it didn't rain until 10 p.m. though, but so as soon as I heard thunder, I decided to go outside. Then it started trickling some rain, but barely any raindrops, but some thunder. Like, I'm talking about the kind of thunder that makes a crack in the sky. It goes, and it sounds like something blew up, and it just, and then it gurgles across the sky for like a whole solid 30 to 50 seconds. Like that kind of thunder that's directly shaking the windows of the house. The really good kind that I like because I love storms. And lightning just crossing the sky, and just a little bit of rain. But then by 10 o'clock, all of a sudden, it wakes Scott up because we have a skylight in our house. The rain, it pours for like 2 seconds, wakes him up, and then it's just a drizzle the rest of the time. So it rained, but not like heavy rain, for a good hour. Some parts of town got 0.55 of an inch of rain. But the outskirts of town and all the flood zones got flooded. All right, there's that last one.
Okay.
Get these trimmed.
But it did rain.
But it did rain,
We always
finally.
tell them how rare it is we get rain.
And the weird thing is it's rained more this year than it did the entire year of 2024. And we're only halfway into 2025.
Well, yeah, we had twice now where it rained for more than an hour straight.
Yeah. Like, we got more rain this year than all of 2024. Like, we didn't even get no monsoons last year. No, I'm just setting them aside.
Well, we didn't get a monsoon yet this year.
We didn't, yeah, it's not monsoon season, but last year we got the clouds for monsoons, but we never got the rain, which is very weird. But yeah, I love storms. So I sat outside and I play a game called King's Crush. I don't know why I'm obsessed. I'm on level like, what am I on? Like 7,000 something. I've been playing this game since my son passed away. What am I doing? Grabbing that. And yeah, I started playing it and I'm really high on the levels. It's pretty much like Candy Crush or Bejeweled. It's pretty much that. You know, if you remember those games. And I got really high on those. I think on Bejeweled, no, not Bejeweled, but Candy Crush. I was on level like 15,000. I was so high up there that it was so repetitive I stopped playing. But then now I'm obsessed with a game that's pretty much the same thing. Go figure. But yeah, I sat outside for the whole time it rained. Not last night, the night before. I sat outside the whole entire time, played my game and just relaxed and enjoyed the sound of the rain and watching the lightning cross the sky and the cracks of thunder. Oh, that just makes my heart feel good. I love scary storms. I don't know why. I just do. All right, starting with a new strip. I'm going to get 2 because it's a pretty long seam, I think. I might get 3 from this strip and then 3 more from another strip, which will have me a remainder of 4 strips, which I'll just put in my 2.5 inch strip bin. So we cut 15, but technically we only needed 14, 13, 11 or so. But that's, again, for those of you who don't want to piece like I pieced mine. Waist purposes. Oh, come on. I need to trim this and send it to you.
Oh, I get the iron again?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Alright, there's that. Oops. I need to change that blade.
You keep saying it.
Add it to this one.
You keep saying it. Although you're almost done, I guess you can make it through this project.
Yeah, I'm going to make it through this project. Just going to finger press this back real quick, line it up, cut it, and use the piece for the next. Yeah, 3 per, and there's 6, so you only need 2 extra strips if you pieced it like I did. So a total of 11 strips, 2.5-inch strips. I really over measured, thinking 6 was going to need more after making 4 yesterday.
Oh, you got a lot of leftover brown.
Yep, now I got a lot of, just going to go in my 2.5-inch strip bin. That's all it's going to do.
This one you handed to me without cutting the thing off.
Oh, I didn't need to cut that one off just yet.
Oh, okay. You know. It's the only one.
All right, last one.
You're gonna use this brown for binding?
I could use this brown, the leftover cuts for bind. I would have to cut some more though, so I did write how much binding I needed for my 4 table runners. It's pretty much 1 full strip per mat, so I added extra for that next.
You didn't cut that one off.
Yeah, I'll get it in 2 seconds when I trim this final edge. I'll tell you guys all that in a second. Oh, I don't need to trim the other side? Okay, I did good on that, I guess.
You only need to trim one side on each
Yeah.
of these, except for this one. This
Yeah.
one's the only one you need to trim 2. All the rest of these is just 1. That's what I was saying. That's the only one you
because
handed me.
I cut it off. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you how much yardage you need for backing fabric and binding. If you want to do it the binding way, you can do it the no binding way, which I think I'm going to do with this set. Instead of long arm quilting them, I think I'm going to do no binding and just turn them. All right. There's all of these. So here is the placemat. All right. The next step is to quilt them, which needs, all right, for 4 placemats and table runner, I needed 1.5 yards to do all of this with that thing, 1.5 yards. And I turned the yardage, 1.5 yards. Is this? I don't know how much is left. I'm just going to use this as an example. So I loaded it on the long arm from selvage at the top to the selvage at the bottom. And then what I did was I used it to load the table runner right here on the top And then I staggered the placemats. 1 placemat, 2 placemat, 3 placemat, 4 placemat. And then I pre-cut the batting for all the placemats all the way around. So it was about an inch bigger all the way around. That made it so much easier to load it. So I used 1.5 yards for that. And then for binding for the 4, where's my binding? Oh, I used more for back with 4 placemats. That was the wrong number right there. This one's almost 2 yards. 1 yard, 30 inches is what I used for the 4 placemats, not the 1.5 yard. Why do I have 1.5 yard right here? I don't even know what that's for. Binding. Where's binding? I wrote it on here. If you do 4 placemats, you need 9 strips for binding. That's 3/4 of a yard. And if you're doing the 6, that would be 11 strips for binding, which is 1, 2, 3. That's 3/4. It's just a whole yard. A whole entire yard. 9 strips for 4. Yeah. Oh, actually, no, yeah, it's 9 strips for both 4 and 6. It's 3/4 of a yard. Interesting. All right. I need, how much time do I have left?
How will you bind these after quilting?
So I'm not probably going to bind these. I'm actually going to do these ones different with the turn, and I'm actually going to go find some backing fabric. I need, for the 4, I think that's what it is. For the 6, I needed 2.5 yards for 6 placemats. Back for 6 and then 1 yard for 13 strips of binding. See, I don't even understand my own notes, and I literally made this yesterday. All right. I'm going to take this over to the fabric room real quick and choose a backing fabric, and I'm going to get 2.5 yards, hopefully. I guess Scott can bring you can unplug and just come over there so they can watch me pick.
What are we getting? Backing fabric?
Just unplug it and.
What are we looking for?
Backing fabric. Oh. We need 2.5 yards. Okay. Welcome to my disaster in here. Please don't freak out. It is a mess. It's always a mess. There's a lot going on in here. I need something with 2.5 yards that goes with either coffee or maybe a different theme on the other side, like my other ones. I did a fall on the back.
It doesn't have to be coffee related.
No.
It's on the back. It can be
I need 2.5 yards of it, whatever I choose. I could put kitty cats on the back.
Is this what was on the front?
No, this is what's on the front.
Well, that would match the back.
Yeah, but there's no 2.5 yards of that one. You got to look for the really thick ones like this.
Oh, I thought that was 2.5 yards. That's why I picked it. Sorry.
No. Look for the thick ones.
Like this?
Yes.
That would match.
This has 3 yards on it. Let's see what the audience thinks. Can you turn that other light on so it's a little bit for the back? What do you think?
No one's going to see the back. You could put purple on it.
I know I could put purple, but, you know, some people like to choose like this. It's like a yellowish color, but it kind of thoroughly matches. That's one choice. Let me see if there's another choice in here real quick. Like a big floral print. You just said purple on the back. Let's see how much is on here. 2.5 yards of a giant floral print.
That works. That works.
So
Use that
I
one.
could put a giant floral print on the back with these, and they would be reversible. Or I can have something that thoroughly
What do you need for the
matches. I need 2.5 yards for both.
Okay, 2.5 yards
for the mats and the table runner.
So
yes.
they're all going to match.
Yeah.
Go with the floral.
Yeah.
I think the floral's more to flip it over. If they would.
What are they saying in the chat? Are they saying floral?
Jim said flowers. So far, no one else. One person said, "Do you have donut fabric?"
Do I have donut fabric? I actually do have food fabrics, but I don't think I have no 2.5 yards. I have cherry
I don't
fabric.
have my computer in here. The things go off immediately on the phone.
Yeah.
I don't know what all people are saying.
Yeah, my food fabric is
okay, 2
sparse.
people like it, 1 person doesn't. Dawn says it doesn't match. Jim and another lady like it.
I like the matching or the yellow color. Hold on, let me find my food real quick. See how much I actually have.
Yeah, but if you ever wanted to flip it over, I think the flowers would look better on the other side than the yellow. Nobody's ever going to use the yellow, is what I'm saying. If they actually would want to flip it over and use it, I think the flowers look better.
Yeah, the flowers do look better for reversibles. Let's go with the flowers. They'll be fully reversible.
The yellow matches better, but the yellow doesn't look good to flip it over and use.
Yep.
I don't know.
We're going to go with the not matching floral, so that way they are reversible, since I'm not quilting them on the long arm with binding.
Color next to the water bottle.
The gold color next to the water bottle, yeah, they're small. These are, if it's really skinny, that means there's a yard on it. Yeah. If it's really thick like this one up here, there's more than a yard. There's some of these have like 3 yards on them. This one has exactly what we need, 2.5 yards. So we're gonna go with it and make them reversible. So let's take this in the other room now and choose what we need, or chop up what we need to show you guys how to make this real quick. This is I'm gonna do only one placemat for now, but this is gonna be, I don't have time for the table runner and stuff, but the concept is the same, what we're gonna do. All right, because we're doing the no binding method.
I'm gonna put the camera way back here.
All right.
Gotta move the camera way, way back.
All righty. First thing I'm gonna do real quick is lay this right here all the way up here and grab the table runner and cut that worth out first. So I'm gonna line my table runner up on here. It's about 1.5 inches bigger all the way around. I'll smooth it out and then just rough cut it. It's no big deal. All right, so I'm just gonna rough cut this out real quick. Down just a little bit more, about right there. Turn and start cutting. And yes, I'm cutting backwards. Why? Because I can. And right here. All right, table runner is the size cut out since I'm stitching it the way I'm going to be stitching it. Just going to set that aside for now. We're going to get some placemats out of this. Right now I'm just going to cut one. Is the iron still plugged in for me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to grab my one placemat that I magically disappeared. Hopefully I wasn't cutting it underneath. You know, knowing me, I always mess everything up. Okay. It's going to go probably this way, right here. That should be good. Just making sure it's a little bit bigger than it needs to be. Okay, just gonna set all this aside for now because I'm gonna line the rest of them up and cut them all out later. I'm going to press this real quick and grab some batting scraps. Oops, wrong button.
Don't hit the buttons on there. That's what makes it do that part. Why are you messing with buttons?
All right. That is now flat. That is now ready. And
That's
now
what makes the water leak out of here, honey. You know that.
scrap batting. Go ahead and cut out this amount right here of my scrap batting. I'm going to use this for every single piece. Or at least however many pieces I can get out of this giant scrap. But I'm pretty sure I'll get everything out of this giant scrap because it was from a 108. All right. I don't need it shaped like this, square. What I need is to cut around about a 1/2 inch all the way around to shape this, because I'm going to use this as my guide, and I want to make sure that I'm not having, a bunch of extra shifting. So making sure. I'm going to press this because it seems like a wrinkled piece of batting. All right. And now I am going to take this lovely, beautiful fabric, this lovely right sides together, my batting on the outside. I think I cut it this way. Did I cut it this way? Yes. No. Yes.
Yes, no, yes.
I'm just going to lay, oh, there. That's the way I cut it, right there. I'm going to lay this on here. And now I'm going to stitch around. First, cut this off. Same size. Because everything's nice and flat now.
All these little scraps you got.
Yeah. Lots of little scraps, but I would have had the same amount of scraps if I would have loaded it on the long arm, which is fine by me. All right. I cut that batting a 1/2 inch bigger. So from this side, I'm going to sew 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch in. That's the word I was looking for, which I can't see. So I'm going to line that up with my seam guide. Some people do it different than I am. Like they put the quilt on the top like this. Actually, you can do this. Turn it upside down, lay it on there, and have just the top and bottom right sides together with the batting on the bottom. You can do that as well. Because we're just going to sew around it and then flip it. And now I can't get it to lay as nice as it was. I was just going to do it my way with my seam guide, but apparently not.
It's not lining up now, is it?
Nope, not lining up now. This way. That's better. No, it's not. This is what I get for moving things around to show you guys that you can do it more than one way. All right, right sides together. And then you're going to sew all the way around your piece, but you're going to leave an opening to turn it. And I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam instead of 3/4 inch seam because I had it nice, but we can always adjust if we want to. So I'm going to start leaving an opening, pivot, I back stitch in the corners because I'm going to trim those for my turning. And yeah, you should pin this. I don't, but you should. I usually iron my pieces together, and that's why I like sewing from the other side, but we're just doing it this way. I'm going to stop backstitch. We're going to trim to the size of the placemat. Or I would have just trimmed off a 1/2 inch.
Why didn't you just do it your normal way?
Why? This way is the same. It's the
You
same
just said
each
how you
way.
normally do it, that you do it another way. Why didn't you do it the way you normally do?
Oh, because I'm trying to make it easier for the audience.
Oh, okay.
My way is kind of confusing, but I get flatter pieces that way.
Okay.
I don't get as much puckering having the batting on the top side and the fabric on the bottom, but that's okay. Once that is all sewn, I'm going to trim away up to the stitching, but not the stitching on all 6 points. Okay, once those are trimmed, I'm going to reach my hand in, pull the whole thing through. And then grab a poker, what we call the shank, but it's a hair marker. And
Tiffy shank.
I'm going to poke my corners out and then run the shank point across the seam to the next point, push it out, run across that seam, switch to the opposite direction. We're going to take this to the iron and press before we do anything. Want these points pointed though. All right, now I'm going to go to the iron and I'm going to make sure in between that this seam lands exactly in the center all the way around. We don't want the front to be seen on the back, and we don't want the back to be seen on the front.
Do you want me to turn the camera?
Sure. So I use my fingers and I roll it so that that seam lands exactly in the middle. And then I take the iron across it, pushing it down. And I do the same and make sure. That's why I use that hair marker first. I don't want to see the top from the bottom and the bottom from the top. Just going to roll it, flatten it, turn it. Nice and flush. Here at the opening, I'm going to fold it under on the bottom first, 1/4 inch, and barely stick this iron in there and do the bottom part first. Fold the bottom under first. And now I'm going to take the top and match it up to it. Folding that under, 1/4 inch. And then I'll top press it so that it stays down. Right there. I don't want to see that bottom fabric on the top. I'm making sure it's exact all the way down while I burn my fingers, because I tend to burn my fingers all the time. Once it's pressed, it should stay closed, but if you want to clip it closed, that's your choice. All right, one more side to go. Most of it should be all flattened out by the time I get to that last side. The whole entire thing as flat as I could possibly get it, because we're also going to quilt it, sort of. All right. Here's my opening side. I'm actually going to stitch that side first. So let's go to the machine. We're going to top stitch 1/8 inch all the way around. But I'm going to start on the side that's being closed. And I'm also going to change my stitch length to about a 2.5. I'm just going to hold it. If you pinned it, that's great. That's what you want to do. I don't do that though. but you can. Okay, that side's closed. I'm going to come to each corner, pivot. Come to the corner, about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, pivot. I'm just using the cream thread because it matches both the back and the front. But at this point, you probably should have changed your thread color to match. Alright, I'm going to trim away these starter threads real quick so that they don't overlap funky. One more stitch that way. Stitch past about 1 inch, back stitching along the way, lifting the needle and thread away. Oh my goodness, come on. So now it's stitched all the way around, sealing it. So now I'm going to stitch in this ditch and in this ditch and probably do an X in the middle. Well, let's see what it looks like after stitching in the ditch real quick though. We're out of bobbin.
That would help.
That was the last of it when I pulled it away for that previous one. Let's throw another bobbin on. You can turn the iron off, by the way. We don't need it on. All right, now I'm going to stitch in the ditch or next to the ditch because I can never get in the ditch. And I'm just quick about this. I don't take my time. Like, I don't like to take my time. I don't take my time in anything I do.
This is not quilt slow.
I don't quilt slow. I'm just using the regular foot. You probably should switch to a walking foot if you don't trust yourself. If you want it a little bit more evenly walked through. Stitching right there. I just hold it flat and stitch fast. That's all I do. Because, you know, that's just who I am. There. I'm not a perfect sit-down quilter anymore. I'm just really sloppy and lazy about it. More than I used to be. I used to pay attention to it more, but thread away. Right there. And I'm going to cross over where I started. Back stitch, back stitch, back stitch. Lift the thread, pull it away. And I'm going to go around that other seam now. Pretty much on the coffee cup side. There. Find my starter threads and get rid of those. Pivot and come to where I started. Right here, back stitch, back stitch, back stitch. I think I go about 1.5 inches worth. At this point, there's more than a hand space unquilted, so I need something in the middle. So I can either cross it with an X this way and this way and this way. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go from one side to the other and then the other side to the other. I'm going to back stitch right there. I'm not even going to mark it. I'm just going to cross straight from one side to the other. Back stitch. I could have done a big swirly, but I'm just doing straight lines.
Coffee.
Yeah, it could have been swirled like coffee. Yes, that's what Scott said. He's like, do a big swirly like coffee. And one more. I'm going to get rid of my starting thread. And get rid of my little tiny tails. And then it will be done. Come on, you stupid little thing. I have little tiny snips actually over on the other side of the room that are for this, but obviously I did not grab them. All right. And here is what it looks like without binding.
I like the star. Star looks good.
So I'm going to do the same thing with all 5 more of these. Obviously, I'm going to do that off camera. I just wanted you guys to see it. But the binding makes it bigger. So it is, without binding, 14 instead of 14.5 inches. And the total width is 16 still from point to point. So it's ½ an inch bigger all the way around. And then obviously I need to do this, but I'll do it later. I'm not going to finish it today, but I'll post pictures when it's done. So that's today's project. Shaped table runner and placemats. And my giant mess that I have now all over the room because I'm waiting till later to finish. All right. Any questions?
Oh, hey,
Oh, it's over. Oh, it ends on Sunday. Yeah, that's right, the 7th. Don't forget, I just want to say this again because it doesn't end till the 7th. If you go over to Fat Tuesday Fabrics, there's going to be a link in the thing. If you type in the code TIFF, all in caps, 10, TIFF10, all in caps, one word, no spaces, in checkout at the little coupon code checkout thing to get 10% off of your order at Fat Tuesday Fabrics. This whatever promotion thing ends on Sunday the 7th. So I made sure to remind you guys now.
one of these, they want to see how it's quilted. These are quilted
Oh, yeah, they're quilted in a meander.
Well,
He's going to bring it close.
they can see.
Oh, phew! There was just a single. It's just a wide meander. You can turn it around, probably see the meander better.
You probably see it better on the back.
There that is. Any questions? And I'll finish this all up later. When?
Are you doing Tula Pink Butterfly Quilt
Yes.
1 or 2?
Butterfly quilt 1 or 2. Let me go grab the pattern. Give me 2 seconds. I just got to walk over here to my tulip bin. It's sitting right on top. We are doing Butterfly Quilt 2. So when I get a chance, this will be announced soon, but Eric from Treasure Heart Creations and I will be sewing this together here on my channel. We just have to figure out the logistics and the time because I'm still working on my double wedding ring and he only has Sundays available. So we're going to try to figure this out. But yeah, we'll be sewing that together.
As soon as you finish the double wedding ring.
Yeah,
Next
as
month.
soon as I finish the double wedding ring, pretty much. It might have to start in July because
next
of the
month.
double wedding ring getting done. All right. Anything else?
No, tell me ask questions. That's all I see.
Ask questions or else I'm going to get off here and go eat because it's time for me to eat actual food and not coffee fabric.
Okay, bye, everybody.
All right. Thank you guys all for hanging out. Hopefully you make this. And if you do, post it in the Facebook group or on Instagram and tag me at Tiffany's Quilting Life. See you guys.